Of this August House is an awe-inspiring moment in my life. Thank you for this opportunity to deliver my maiden speech. I am acutely aware of the fact that many speakers have long exceeded the time that you would like to allocate, so I shall be brief and hopefully crave your indulgence sometime in the future, even though I belong to the elite backbenchers club. Madam, the two Houses of Parliament collectively embody the will of 1 billion citizens of this great nation. These houses decide the destiny of our children, and the proceedings since independence contain contributions of many great citizens of our country. As a committed citizen, a businessman like anybody else is entitled to his dream, a dream of participating in the process which gives direction to the future of our country. Selfless public spirit should be the guiding principle of all of us who are privileged to be members of Parliament. I speak today, but sadly, in the context of death and destruction in the state of Gujarat, which over decades has been the epitome of industrial progress. The people of Gujarat are known to be great entrepreneurs, and rather than set an example for our entrepreneurs of tomorrow, our children are silent witnesses to the unmindful carnage that is taking place in that state. Madam, accountability for performance in business is no different to accountability of governance. This great nation has to think of tomorrow and beyond, and the standards of performance and accountability by both government and business must set an example for our future. Instead of creating benchmarks of progress, we have lost 7 precious days of parliamentary time disagreeing, not about the facts of actual violence and loss of life, but whether the government of Gujarat should be held accountable and therefore reprimanded for its failure to govern. Assuming for a moment, Madam, that the government of India acknowledged certain lapses, does that in fact change our future? Does an admission that the VHP or the Bajrang Dal are communal in their outlook guarantee the future of the children of this country? And that is a subject which I think we should all deliberate on. Madam, this is the budget session of Parliament, and our Honourable Finance Minister has been branded as a rollback Finance Minister. Frankly, I applaud the Finance Minister for his initiatives in his original budget. Sadly, political compulsions have taken precedence over fiscal necessities. Like in the case of Gujarat, we need accountability for performance. Political will is sometimes at cross purposes with practicality and the reality of need to improve the lives of the children of our country. I heard the Honourable Finance Minister speak about the impact of violence in Gujarat on the international business community. He stated that violence in that state would not affect foreign direct investment to any significant extent. I am pleased to hear this, but I beg to disagree with him, as it is not only foreign direct investment, but domestic investment in industry that is also important. As a businessman who successfully operated in the state of Gujarat for over 2 decades, I must confess that I will be reluctant to invest further in a state which cannot preserve harmony and discipline. Madam, India has historically been a repository of knowledge. New vistas are opening up and the world is changing. Information technology, biotechnology, healthcare, drugs and pharmaceuticals, and areas of e-entertainment are becoming vitally important. To deepen and broaden this process of development, the need of the hour is to extend education into rural areas and to carry its benefits to every section of society. We must bridge the digital gap sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, very little of our true potential has been realized. We seem to be spending a lot of time debating issues with political focus rather than on those with purposeful economic focus. The debate on Gujarat, Madam, is only one such example. There is a visible gap between what we can achieve and what we have achieved. Even if we appreciate the political compulsions in a democratic setup, Why should the basic agenda for development and eradication of poverty be deferred year after year and made subservient to political commentary? Must the people of India and our some 450 million youth remain forever hostage to governments that may be in office but not in power because of political pressures, and to the vision of several leaders who succumb to various pressures within their own organizations, forgetting that it is our duty to create a better future, not for ourselves, but for the children of India? Madam, it is time that young blood and dynamism is introduced into government that can balance the many apparently conflicting demands and decide on a way to execute our vision for the future. They are very basics of good governance that will visibly set benchmarks of progress with multiple dimensions and which will slowly but surely stimulate the minds of those misguided and frustrated people who have nothing better to do now than to indulge in acts of violence. I request the Government of India to create an example in accountability for performance, to create a benchmark for our future generations, to send a clear message that we are a peaceful, secular society with the will to occupy our pride of place in the world, not to be forever referred to as a third world or emerging economy. Let the failure of performance of the government of Gujarat be an eye-opener. Let us not have recrimination, but set an example of how failure in governance should be dealt with so that these unfortunate happenings are eradicated and never ever repeated. Let the people of Gujarat instead continue to draw on their repository of knowledge and skills so that their state can once again revert to being a major contributor to the continued economic development of our nation. I hope that all those who are privileged to be members of these august houses devote their time, skills and energies to the emergence of a disciplined, result-oriented India where citizens belonging to different castes, creeds and religions from all walks of life can live with positive hope and actually look forward to the overall prosperity of future generations in the making of a great nation that will occupy its rightful place in the developed world. Thank you, Madam.
Shri Ram Jethmalani.
Madam